Made in Bristol. Connected both nationally.
Bristol, how do we describe our city?
Bristol is unorthodox.
Bristol's a very energetic city.
Eccentric.
We're like a magnet for artists.
It does punch above its weight.
We've got quirky people.
Collaboration, creativity, community.
We've attracted international names and we've grown and developed companies that are world leaders.
Oh, hello.
Aardman internationally is renowned for being in Bristol. Many people don't know where Bristol is. They probably think it's a suburb of London.
Whether it's award-winning animation, the biggest jumbos, or the best natural history programmes, there's something magnetic about Bristol that attracts and grows talent.
We forget that we have the biggest silicon design businesses outside California and the Silicon Valley. The festivals, the SS Great Britain, the Bridge, graffiti artists like Banksy.
There's something certainly in the air here that breeds that kind of imagination, energy and entrepreneurship.
The BBC has long been a touchstone for the thriving media industry in Bristol. For over 75 years, it has been a leading light in the creative economy right at the heart of the city.
The BBC has been a creative production anchor for a long, long time, which has created the impetus for the growth in the natural history community, the growth of the animation community, and of course the absolutely indispensable local news, which is cross-platform and is increasingly essential. Radio Bristol, rock on.
A lot of it to do with, that wonderful word clustering. Why do birds of a feather flock together? And the BBC in Bristol was very much part of that initial media cluster. People clustered around them because they were given opportunities.
But in the spirit of enterprise and to answer Bristol's calls for closer collaboration, the BBC signed a historic partnership agreement in 2009, the first between the corporation and any UK city. It's the Anchor Project.
Anchor was set up to bring together people across all the different creative digital media partnerships to actually look at how we could collectively do more than any of the individual organisations could do on their own.
From Spike Island to Aardman, from the watershed to the Bristol Old Vic, the Colston Hall. And what's exciting at the moment is that these organisations seem just at the same time to be thinking about connecting up.
Bringing together Bristol's media companies, universities and high-tech industries has led to an array of initiatives. iFeatures has paid for 3 feature films, all produced and shot entirely in the region.
It's really nice when you see things come to fruition. So when I saw one of the iFeatures films with the credits rolling up and it had Bristol City Council on the end, that was quite an exciting moment.
The BBC and various digital companies have worked together to develop new archiving methods to store local and historical material. And crucially, Anchor has kick-started schemes to grow the next generation of creative talent in Bristol.
It was very important to both the council and the BBC that we work with young people in schools, because these are the people who are going to work in the industry in the future.
This strengthened spirit of creative collaboration has also inspired the normally shy and retiring radio makers in Bristol to create the More Than Words Listening Festival.
In that red house in a red mahogany bookcase, the stamp collection waits with mounts long dry.
I think to date, in the 2-year history of the Anchor Partnership, the most powerful exposition of that partnership is this new More Than Words Festival.
Mabel Jane has sent us As Doomed to Failure as a Bouncy Castle birthday party for hedgehogs.
More Than Words is a way to both really give voice to the excellence of radio output that comes from Bristol and from the BBC, but also to genuinely engage the public.
More Than Words is a celebration of what people love about Radio 4. Sound, stories and the art of listening, over a weekend of programmes and performance.
It's wonderful for the Listening Festival to be in Bristol, but it's quite natural because Bristol has close associations with Radio 4. We've got poetry, we've got features, we've got dramas, we've got all kinds of exciting things going on there. Programmes already made in Bristol, so why not start at Bristol?
But this is a festival of more than words. Alongside the broadcast will be a host of Bristol musicians, community choirs, performers and artists who took up our challenge to engage with sound.
These partnerships have got the potential to explode and grow, and that's what's so exciting about them, and that's what we've got here in Bristol. A partnership with creative potential, and I hope it'll be obvious to everyone who takes part in it. It's not just programmes, it's to do with all kinds of things fundamental to the art of listening, which is dying in our society and matters so much for every aspect of our lives.
Looking 3 or 4 years ahead, of course, I'd like to see Bristol recognised nationally and internationally as the creative hub that it is. What I'd like is that the word Bristol itself became recognised as meaning unusually inventive, a little bit truculent, surprising, but in the end powerfully energetic. So people might say, well, that's a bit Bristol, that, and mean all of those things.